Should we just do without this microphone?
You need to change the
They needed to roll that up. That end that form. Unless we're using this.
What is it? Is it the reflection? I think it's negligible.
It's even better.
No, it's not.
Gentlemen, check now. Is this reflection disturbing you guys?
No, the reflection is not official for me.
Hello?
It's not.
Yes, we started.
Is it that?
It's not professional.
Look at that.
Well, they don't want us to capture. You know, this is diplomatic. They don't want us to capture ECOWAS. ECOWAS logo.
You see it, right?
Yes.
Will the reflection appear in your shots?
Yes.
It will appear in your shots.
Well, there is okay.
This place is okay.
No, this is what we are saying. It's those of us seated here that are seeing the reflection and it's not appearing in their camera.
No, they are saying they should
Master,
go this
to
way,
change
then
the
we
position.
will go this way.
No.
The reflection will,
Yes, the
will
reflection.
affect.
All right, Alex, let us. Sorry, sir. You're smiling back now because you're not smiling before. Because of the delay.
Me?
Yes. I am smiling again now. Let's start.
I am.
Okay, let's go.
Well, we're starting, please. All phones on silent. All phones on silent, please. Okay. Cameras, if you're ready.
Sorry.
Even that paper self.
Are those books showing?
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter that one.
It doesn't matter.
It's only journalists.
It matters in your language. Okay, let us go.
All right.
That's it.
It's giving signal.
Let me signal to start.
Okay, sir. Can carry on. Can fire on.
Okay, but I need to know you're ready. Okay, good. So let's open this press conference with the national pledge, and we can progress from there. We can stand up to do that, please. Pledge to the Nigerian Republic, to the faithful
To serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory, so help me God.
All right, electoral reform. Okay, let me just say this is NAPO, Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition, and electoral reform has been one of the major conversations, in the front burner in our political space currently. Electoral reform is something that is necessary at this time and at this hour. And the NACO, that is Nigeria Reform Coalition, is coming together to tell Nigerians, and again our legislators, that it is mandatory upon our responsibility that we reform what this sham process called election, because it is necessary and it is important. Our elections has not been it has not reflected the will of the people so far. Our elections has always been something that a group of persons can sit in their houses and be proud that we brought this person into power, instead of the will of the people brought this person into power. But for that reason, NACO, we have decided that enough of votes buying, enough of any other sham process in our electoral processes. It is proper that Nigeria, we are ripe for it. We have an election that is the will of the people. And today we have the entire body, no, not the entire body, just a group of persons from NACO, and we'll just start by introduction. Again, I will start with myself. My name is Prince Alex Aladuge. I am the National Secretary, Nigeria Reform Coalition, NACO. Thank you.
Okay, let's start from.
Okay, let's start from the other end.
Good afternoon, gentlemen of the press. My name is Dr. Elijah Blessing. I am the National Deputy Secretary, Nigerian Electoral Reform Coalition. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mrs. Mary Mokobo, the Deputy Convener, FCT and Women League.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen of the press. Good afternoon, Nigerians, and good afternoon, everybody. I am Comrade Kasarachi Davis Onuma. I am the National Director of Mobilization, Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition. Thank you for coming.
My name is Sharon Chukobasi. I am a member of the National Electoral Reform Coalition.
Thank you very much. My name is Ambassador Dr. Mrs. William. I'm a member of the management board.
All right, and my names are Ola Okerekechidedu. I'm the National Convener, Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition.
All right, thank you so much. Again, my name is Prince Alex Aladuge. I am the National Secretary and the Interim Abuja Convener, Nigerian Electoral Reform Coalition. So we'll begin this event by an opening remark. This opening remark will be done by our Director of Mobilization in the person of Engineer Kasi. Please. Yeah.
Thank you, esteemed National Scribe. All right, gentlemen of the press, we welcome you to this particular World Press Conference. Comrade Onwuma Kasarachi Davis is the name. They call me Kasi. I am the National Director of Mobilization. I am saddled with the responsibility of making sure that Nigerians at the grassroots get to know what Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition is doing and how important it is to Nigerians. So we heartily welcome you to this particular press conference today. Okay, permit me to take a little history of what NACO is doing and why NACO is doing what we are doing today. Okay, so NACO, Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition, is actually a non-partisan body, okay, that is actually born out of the need of Nigerians. Okay, so NACO, on the onset 2024, we had to do a little survey of what Nigerians actually want, the most pressing legislative actions Nigerians require from their parliamentarians as it matters today. So that particular survey actually convinced us that Nigerians across board, across the villages, across all the regions of Nigeria, actually want electoral reform so that we can begin to have a credible, accountable, and transparent means of selecting our leaders. Because that way, with that, we can begin to have the right dividends of democracy that Nigerians so solely crave for. Okay, so NACO has moved on since 2024 up to today. And right now, we are the front burner of pushing this demand, okay, of electoral reform in Nigeria. Before now, we've had several conferences in Abuja, okay, to press home and to call on Nigerians to join this particular movement so that we can begin to draw the attention of our leaders to begin to give a legislative backing to electoral reform. All right, so apart from the conferences that we've had, live conferences, we've gone ahead to actually domesticate this particular movement in the states, across the states of the Federation. Okay, we set up all the state structures. The reason is so that our state conveners, who actually mans the states across the Federation, can actually take this message down to the grassroots so that our people at the various villages can begin to understand what NACO is pushing and the various demands as they are going to be elucidated today by our national convener. Okay, so NACO has actually gone ahead to actually be involved in all the public hearings, be it House of Reps public hearing, be it Senate public hearing, be it constitutional public hearing, be it hearing on the electoral reform. We have all been there. And we've all been touring, visiting all the stakeholders of Nigerians to make sure that they buy into this project. because this is one project that Nigerians so crave for, that they actually want our leaders to pay attention to. So we are here today to actually welcome every Nigerians on board to join us, to call on our leaders to begin to pay close attention to what Nigerians want. You will hear the synopsis of what Nigerians want from our national convener. With this, I welcome you all to this press conference today, and I will pass the mic to our national convener to begin to give us the brief. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, DOM and our able National Secretary. I want to once again welcome the members of the press and the able members of the national executives and board representative, Ambassador Lizzie, that is present here. I want to thank all of you for coming. Permit me, I would have to communicate to you through a written brief, because we want to make sure that we communicate exactly what we want communicated. Distinguished members of the press, esteemed lawmakers, and fellow Nigerians, the Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition welcomes you all to this important press conference convened to commend, observe, and demand the strengthening of the ongoing amendment of the Electoral Act by the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives. The Nigeria Electoral Reform Coalition, NACO, is a citizens-driven coalition working to promote credible, transparent, and people-centered electoral processes in Nigeria. Now, like you heard the Director of Mobilization mention, we have started since 2024. Our journey has been a rigorous one. We have consistently engaged the legislature and the general public to ensure every Nigerian becomes part of the process. Now, you would have seen a lot of our work at the social media. Our national PRO has been consistently in the social media talking to the public and calling out everyone, both the traditional rulers, both the faith-based people, to join the cause of electoral reform. And we can tell you that we have made tremendous progress. A whole lot of people have begun to join this call. Now, we believe that the amending of the Electoral Act to produce a transparent and credible electoral process is not a political agenda, but a national imperative for credible leadership. We also believe that the process of our elections is vital to restoring voters' confidence, eliminating voter apathy, and putting an end to the recurring pattern of electoral fraud and legal battles that follow every election cycle. Now, these are not new stories to you. You are aware that this is what happens almost every election. You see legal battles everywhere. And right now, Nigerians are even tired of even voting. Anyone you tell to come and vote right now, they will tell you, will my vote count? And we want to tell Nigerians, all that we're pushing now is that the electoral reform will cause your vote to count. And if this is done, then and our vote counts, then credible people will be in leadership. Okay, so on that note, we are hoping that having done this, all these things will end. Meanwhile, while we thank the National Assembly for the progress made so far, because we cannot deny there has been some progress, we wish to state clearly that Nigerians will not accept anything short of truly credible electoral system. This is the only way to produce competent leaders with the capacity to deliver the infrastructural and social development required for our country's progress. NACO has engaged the National Assembly through the submission of amendment proposals across several state constituencies and senatorial districts through different senators and members of the House of Representatives. These engagements reflect the seriousness of the Nigerian people and the urgency of the this reform. Now, on the role of the Joint Committee, we particularly acknowledge the efforts of the Joint Committee on Electoral Matters, chaired by the distinguished Senator Siraka Dixon. However, we must strongly advise that the committee must resist any form of pressure, inducement, or manipulation by political interests seeking to distort the genuine objectives of this amendment process. Nigerians are watching closely to see the outcome of the committee's work. If the final document falls short of the expectations of the Nigerian people at this time when our nation urgently needs credible leadership, the committee and the National Assembly will be held accountable for the consequences that follow through a flawed electoral process. Now, NACO also, on the issue of electronic transmission of results, NACO emphasizes the provision of that provision mandating the electronic transmission of election results from polling units to the INEC result viewing portal must not be compromised. Now, credible intelligence available to us, and this is one of the reasons we want to call Nigerians out at this time. Credible intelligence available to us indicate that some corrupt political actors who have benefited from electoral manipulation over the years are making concerted efforts to ensure that this provision, we are talking about the mandatory transmission, electronic transmission of results, that this provision is either removed or weakened by making it non-mandatory, as was previously done in the 2022 Electoral Act. This plan must not be allowed to succeed. Nigerians will fight against it with everything within their constitutional rights. The only way to secure the people's mandate is through transparency in vote collation and transmission. Any election results not transmitted electronically to the IRF at the time of declaration should be considered null and void. And INEC must bear the burden of proof for any declared result. This is the foundation of accountability and modern elections. Now, the idea of or the proposal that INEC will bear the burden of this proof is part of the provisions or submissions made by NACO in the last public hearing, and we are glad to note that the committee has adopted it, and it is currently being debated. And we are insisting that that must be held down on the Act. Now, on the issue of electronic voter accreditation, during the public hearing, we noted that a new section 47(1)(a) is proposed to allow for electronically generated voter identification, including a downloadable voter card with a unique QR code. While this is an innovative idea, it must be secured through verifiable linkage to the National Identity Number (NIN) database, which remains the official and most credible source of citizens' data in Nigeria. Without this linkage, the downloadable card risk becoming another avenue for fraud and multiple voting. A strong NIN tie is therefore non-negotiable. Now, it's important to note this, that just creating a QR code, a downloadable card, anybody can produce that. But if it is tied to the NIN database, we can assure you that only human beings and Nigerian citizens will download that card. Now, on vote buying and selling, which is one of the key issues that Nigerians have suffered over the years, we see sections 62, 9, 7, 12, and 74(2) on the Electoral Act must be strengthened and made to carry strong weight against the pervasive practices of vote buying and vote selling. These criminal acts destroy the very foundation of democracy and must attract severe penalties. Now, in the current amendments, there is a strengthening of this particular offense, and we are saying that the committee must ensure that a strong push is put to that. And related to elections through NIN, BVN, and other digital identity systems to deter political actors from corrupting the process. On INEC leadership and appointment reform, NACO calls for reform in the process of appointing the INEC chairman and national commissioners. While we commend the effort to include this amendment, we strongly recommend a more people-centric and transparent process that involves the National Judicial Council, civil society organizations, and professional associations in screening and nomination. This will guarantee neutrality, competence, and credibility in leadership, which is crucial for institutional independence and public trust. Now, we are based also on some of the credible intelligence on timely presidential assent. Now, from reports, we have also gathered that there are plans to delay the president's assent to the amended Electoral Act until it becomes impossible to implement before the 2027 elections. It's important to note we are not just working on hearsay. We have facts and evidences proving that certain plans are on ground. If this one fails, the other one is taken. So if they fail to make sure that these things are not removed or weakened, then they will take the other part B, which is to ensure that this president's assent is delayed. Now, there are some group of people who are actually pushing for this. Now, we are not in any way accusing anybody completely, but they know themselves. So we are saying that this assent from the president is something that will be taken serious by the Joint Committee. And so on that note, the Nigerian people will not tolerate this. The National Assembly must therefore exercise its full legislative authority to prevent any form of executive delay. The National Assembly must set a specific timeline, this is very important, specific timeline for presidential assent. One that ensures the act comes into effect in time for implementation. If the president fails to assent within the specified period, the National Assembly must proceed to veto the bill as permitted by law. Any unnecessary delay will be seen as a collaboration to undermine the will of the people, and Nigerians will not take it lightly. And then to summarize our demands, the digital, number one is the digital voter accreditation system that must be tied to the NIN database to prevent fraud and ensure authenticity. Number two, talking about the section 62, 7, and 74 must be strengthened to decisively address vote buying and vote selling. And then also we're talking about electronic transmission of results to IREF must be mandatory, and any untransmitted result must be deemed invalid. Now, INEC must bear the burden of proof for every result it declares. Now, the appointment of INEC leadership must follow a transparent, people-driven process. Now, the National Assembly must establish a binding timeline for presidential assent and invoke its veto powers if necessary. The amended Electoral Act must be implemented well ahead of the 2027 elections to ensure readiness and credibility. Now, the Joint Committee must resist any attempt by vested interests to distort or weaken reform provisions. Now, we have evidences and credible intelligence also that many of them are also working against the independent candidacy bill. This is part of the reforms that we are expecting, that if the independent candidacy bill is put in force, then it means credible people can actually find themselves into contesting elections without being bureaucratically skilled out or schemed out by political parties who are just there for their own personal interest. So we are standing and insisting that that bill have to see the light of the day, because Nigerians that want to contest should be allowed to contest if they have what it takes to contest by law. So they should allow them. So the law should not hold them down by not allowing for independent candidates. That's what is done in other parts of the world. Independent candidates are allowed to contest elections. Now, in conclusion, now before that conclusion, we want to note here that Nigerian people will hold the National Assembly accountable for delivering a credible, transparent, and patriotic reform. And in conclusion, NACO reiterates that electoral reform is not a political struggle, but a patriotic mission for national salvation. The amended Electoral Act must stand as a monument of integrity, one that restores the people's faith in democracy and guarantees that leaders emerge through the true will of the electorate. We therefore urge the Joint Committee and the entire National Assembly to rise above politics, uphold the national interest, and deliver to Nigerians a reformed Electoral Act that will lay the foundation of credible leadership and good governance. Now, I want to thank you all, and God bless you, and God bless the Republic of Nigeria. And I believe that this that we have delivered will get to everyone, especially the Joint Committee of the National Assembly, to ensure and to know that Nigerians are watching to see that this electoral reform is carried out judiciously. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful speech. Thank you, everyone. Without wasting much time, we will just go to our next segment, which is the Q&A session. That will be done now. and it should last for at least, let's say, between 30 to 45 minutes. No, let's say 20 minutes at max. 20 minutes. Please, Q&A. We want to entertain questions from the press, please. Questions, please. Yeah, please.
Okay, good afternoon once again. My name is Sajid from News Central Television. It's been just a few days since the new INEC chairman was sworn by the president and also confirmed by the National Assembly. Do you have any form of confidence or rather expectations from this new INEC chairman? I know that a lot of work still needs to be done, especially considering that we still do not have an electoral offences commission to prosecute some of these electoral related offences. So what would be your message to him, and what are your expectations for him ahead of 2027?
Okay, right before now, we have sent messages even through our PRO to the new INEC chairman and telling him that Nigerians are watching. Now, a whole lot of INEC chairman has come and gone, and he should also know that he will come and go. And that those who had left, right now, history is judging them. And they are not being judged in heaven, they are being judged on earth. Nigerians know where their people are, Nigerians knows who they are, Nigerians know their families, and they should not think that their errors are affecting only Nigerians, it's also affecting them. So if you have been chosen to do a job, do it with everything that it requires to produce the right result. And so we are asking him, of course we know the system that produced him is flawed. And so we don't expect too much from him. But he can actually be an exception. He can actually decide to be different. Even though the system that produced him is flawed, he can decide to produce something that is not flawed. So it's up to him. But if he decides to flow in the line of the system that produced him, history will judge him. But it's important to note that responsibility has been given to him right now to serve the country. Now it's up to him to decide whether he's going to go in the side of fairness or in the side of corruption. So whichever side he chooses, Nigerians will judge him that way. The ball is in his court. Professor Amutopana, the ball is in your court.
So, good afternoon. My name is Irina Fichuku. I write for this news. So my question is, we just have a few weeks of, let's say, days for the Anambra State election forthcoming. So what are your expectations? Just as he said, pertaining the new INEC chairman, there are lots of things you all listed here, and you expect that the commission should carry out. So what are your expectations in the forthcoming Anambra gubernatorial election?
You see, the Anambra gubernatorial election, to me, I still see Anambra gubernatorial election is an offshoot of the system that is called existing system. And I don't think much is expected to change. But, like we said before, the new INEC chairman has the opportunity to prove himself. Remember, this system is driven by people. And it is what they decide that the system will bring out. So if you decide, like we saw the last time, glitches came up at a certain time. If they decide to bring up glitches, there's nothing you can do about it. It is them, it's their time to do it. So the Anambra election, we are expecting the best for our people in Anambra. But it is dependent on the umpires who are conducting the election to give us what is required.
Just a second, are there loopholes that you've seen that you want it to be addressed before the election?
Already, all the things that we are pushing right now are already in the act. They are going to be conducting the election with the existing act. So these things that we're pushing right now are existing already. They are not, so those are the loopholes already existing. Those loopholes are going to affect the election somehow, except if the people, now remember, transmission of results is in Electoral Act 2022. It's just that the Act at a certain point gave room that INEC could use their discretion where there are issues of network or whatever, making it non-mandatory. But it does not mean that the umpire cannot decide to use transmission fully. He can. So if he decides to use transmission fully and make it credible and transparent, history will judge it. So what I'm trying to say is that what we're trying to say is that the system already has flaws, and we are hoping that they will work above these flaws and produce better results. But I think the DOM has been taking his head. Maybe he has something to say about Adambra because he's from the southeast.
Okay, yes, thank you. I want to add just flesh to what my esteemed convener has said, right? So we actually expect Prof. You know, it's all Prof now, manning that body for God knows how long now. Prof 1, Prof 2, Prof 3, Prof 4 to my counting. We expect Profs to begin to make we are beginning to see a system, a very ugly system, where our Profs are beginning to do ugly things in the electoral system. We want to give Professor Mipitan the benefit of that his own Prof, this Prof in this era, will do a different thing, using Anambra as a case study. He can push his best foot forward by doing the right thing in Anambra. If he starts doing the right thing in Anambra, Nigerians will begin to have confidence. Confidence will be restored in INEC. Because as it stands today, we can tell you that the confidence reposed in INEC is gone. That is the truth. And that's why you're seeing voter apathy everywhere. In fact, the Gen Z population do not even expect anything from this Nigeria INEC or anything. Not to talk of those who are already the elderly. So we are feeling and we are saying that Prof can actually do the best thing and stand out and maintain his honor. And like my convener said, history will be kind to him. Thank you.
My name is Timothy Yusuf. I represent the NTA. Going by this text, some of the information or some of the points made here were products of credible intelligence. If I may ask, how credible is the intelligence report at your disposal? That is one. Your findings here, are there people driven or serving the agenda of one man behind? I want to know.
Okay, so you said you actually used the word credible. It means
how credible?
The intelligence is credible. The word credible means credible. It is credible. We want to grade the credibility. It is very credible. Now, but I can also, from your words, I will have to pick out something there. Let me just explain something to you. If you were there when we did our rally in the National Assembly, it was very clear, we made it very clear. NACO is not being sponsored or backed by any politician. Just to call back to history, we have had courtesy visits. We have met different people. We have met Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, calling him to put his voice in electoral reform. In our first conference, we invited Senator Shehu Sani. We invited Femi Falana to come and put their voice. We have written for a courtesy visit to Ibrahim Babangida, General Ibrahim Babangida. We have also written for a courtesy visit to Mr. Peter Obi. We are still waiting for their own responses. Once their own responses come, we will also go meet them and insist that they do the same thing. Put their voice on this. We have written to the Senate President, Senator Abadu. He will tell you, I can show you pictures of our picture with his Chief of Staff, Barrister Ben Akubezi. We'll be in his office. We called for a courtesy call, asking that they should do something about electoral reform. We have also gone to the Speaker of the National House of Representatives, asking that they should do something about electoral reform. This group, this movement, is not sponsored by anybody. This press conference was contributed by individual persons here, and the other members in the group, and the state level, contributing their 1,000 to see that we are here to talk to you. It is not politicized. It is not serving the interest of anybody. It is serving the interest of Nigerians. What we want is a credible and transparent electoral process. And I believe only by that the son of nobody will become somebody in Nigeria. And only through that someone like you can wake up one day and your people will say, we want this man to represent us. And you can represent them through the true will of the people. That's why we are pushing for what we are pushing. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And then also to now go back, the credibility of our intelligence and our reports are clear and true. When we tell you some people are planning this, yes, some people are planning that. We have been roaming around the National Assembly and the legislative areas, meeting different people, just to push to ensure that we get these things done. There are people who are plotting to see that this thing does not see the light of the day. They are there. They know.
They know.
I'm sure as they are watching me, they know what we're saying is correct.
Intelligence is clear.
And they have all their plans laid out. We will still pull out more plans. As they keep planning, we will bring more out. But Nigerians are watching. Because this electoral reform will be done for the good of all of us. Thank you.
Any other question?
Yes, good evening, sir. My name is Clara from Landslide News. Going to be further to speaking about the digital application system should be tied to NIN. Sorry. And being that also that the vote buying has increased, like as of the recent electoral process in Nigeria, vote buying has increased even without the digital part of it. So how sure are we that tying this to our NIN database to not increase the vote buying system that we have?
I have this. All these people are all IT based. So I think the secretary and the GM will talk about it. And then the secretary will be first,
Okay.
and then the GM will now. But we can tell you that what we have there, we've got a lot of work going on in NACO. So let them just talk to you.
Okay, I'll answer this question simply. The current voter register we have, for me, it's padded. We have over 86 million persons that are that have the right to vote. They've been registered. But in the previous election, 2023 election, just about 23 million Nigerians voted. So that's a gap of about 60 million not voting. Now, the question will be, where are the 60 million? Why didn't they come out? So I believe that our voter register is completely padded. We don't know these individuals. In Nigeria, why are we having multiple identification systems? Why can't we stick with our NIN? So let's reconcile the voter register with NIN. Do you understand? Let's reconcile them. Let's know who these voters are. It is easier for us that way. So that when you are trying to manipulate the process, we can say A did not vote, B did not vote. Why? Because there are signs and signals that we can hold on to that this person did not vote through their NIN. But right now that is not reconciled. Anybody can just come out and say, I have a voter's card. And the next thing, they are padding votes and all that. So we are trying to cut electoral malpractices as to this barest minimum. Do you understand? We are just trying as much as possible to cut that electoral malpractices. So for that reason, we want the voter register to be reconciled. It has to, with NIN, so that these individuals can be traced to their doorstep. Thank you.
All right, just to add to what my colleague here has said, okay, I'm an IT professional, okay? All right, so I can tell you that multiple identity system in Nigeria is a problem. We are matured enough to have a single identity system in Nigeria. And we have the infrastructure. We have the human resources. It is just that the system has not allowed us to have an identity system that anybody can be proud of. You see, this call for integrating the voters register and the NIN puts face, enables us to put face to who real voters are. Who are these voters? Let's begin to merge an identity. We believe that NIN is real, right? That is one credible means of identifying folks in Nigeria today. If you say you're a Nigerian, they will say, what's your NIN number, right?
Yes.
So if you have a NIN number, let's merge it with your voter's card. If you do not have, if your voter's card do not collaborate your NIN, you are not a voter, you are not a Nigerian. That is simply what it means. The system says so, because NIN is the real identity card that we have in Nigeria. So what we are saying is for us to put face to who is voting and who is not voting, especially now that we are supporting electronic transmission of election results from polling booths on real time to a digital collation board, that is the IREF that we have. We are saying that real human beings are people whose votes should be dropping on our IREF. And so if I vote in my local village, I should be able to see my vote drop because a real identity or a real human being has actually voted as recognized by the voter register. That also allows, in fact, a lot of things that were put forward to the National Assembly includes that we should begin to have a system that allows people to transparently have access to the actually voter register repository. People should have access to it. There should be a transparent means. If I am a candidate in an election, I should be able to access, okay, if I'm contesting for the governorship of Abia State, I'm from Abia State, I should be able to have access as a candidate recognized by INEC, okay, of the database of those who are registered, real human beings, through the NIN, linked to the voter's card, who are actually people eligible to vote in that particular election. There should be a way of matching real human beings, real voters, to their NIN to actually the voter's card. That way, we can begin to have a system that actually knows when it is moving, when the IT architecture is moving from point A to point B, to the point of knowing who voted and who didn't vote. So that at the end of the day, when we actually transmit or when we actually have the, what is it called now, the voter accreditation, we can begin to merge through if these people who actually appeared on the voter accreditation are the real people who actually have NIN, real human beings. So we want to put face to this whole thing. That way we can begin to curb the vote buying and the vote selling that you are talking about. That is the simplest means of doing this. And of course, let me put this. In Nigeria, we have what it takes. The human resources are there. If INEC can create the space, the Nigerians with capacity will come in and show how these things are done. Thank you very much.
And you think the time range that is given for this demand review, they will be able to reach this time?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I think there's something that they are not spoken, but I think there's a point of the mention that they didn't touch, which is what I want to, concerning the section 42, the new section 47(1)(a), which the question is that they want to create downloadable cards, QR cards. Now, we are aware that in some cases we have seen people bring people from Nigeria and from places to come and vote, and they push them in, and those votes are made to count. Now, there are also some cases we've seen people, they say they go and print cards. Now, if we now introduce downloadable QR cards, which obviously will be manipulated or operated by someone to produce these cards, you know the person can produce as many cards as he wants to produce. Anybody who has authority to produce the cards can produce it, can generate more cards. He can tell anybody who wants to go and put this and generate, and they will allow the system to generate it. But if those cards are linked to a particular NIN, it can only be generated with a valid NIN. Are you seeing it? That curbs it and makes it one man, one vote. That's what we're talking about. All right, please.
Yeah.
There's a,
So add, okay, you want to say
Yeah, I
something,
want
please?
to make a comment on what the NTA journalist asked, whether NAPO is being sponsored by an individual. For me, that is just, how do I put it? How do you look at something that we have presented today with all the conditions and everything that we have outlined? It has nothing to benefit an individual. I think that Nigerians have to really wake up to our reality. Voting is something that every nation, every individual has the right to.
And this is a process by which we, have our leaders. So why are we saying, or even that question is even coming up in this conference, whether it is being backed by an individual? There is nothing like that. This conference, as our convener said, is being sponsored by people that believe in this vision, people that believe that this is what Nigeria should right now. Anybody that participated in the last election, there were a lot of flaws. We are right old enough as a nation to have a credible system of voting our leaders. So even the media should really focus on what we are trying to do here. We are trying to push for this, for the benefit of every Nigerian. It's only when you have credible leaders that you have, when you have a credible process that you can have the right leaders. Because the way our political space is now, it doesn't allow for people to come in. It doesn't allow some certain kind of credible, enlightened Nigerians to participate in politics. It's as if the system isolates certain kind of people. We are trying to make this thing credible for every one of us. So please, I want the journalists to really take note of that question. We are being sponsored by us Nigerians, citizens that believe that credible election is one of the key things that we should strive for. Thank you.
Thank you. To add to what you said, the first thing I want to say is, in Nigeria, there is absolutely nothing you will do that you will not require your NIN, except for voters' card. And that's a problem. And I believe we should take note of that. There is absolutely nothing you will go and get in Nigeria. You are going to the bank, they will ask for NIN. You want to register anything online that is government related, they will ask for your NIN. Except for voters' card. Why is that so? So it should be reconciled. Thank you. All right, any other question?
No, sir.
All right, thank you so much. In the absence of any other question, we want to have maybe a special remark from Ambassador. Ambassador, please, you can just give us a special remark.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, the media, for being here to capture what we have said. And we are hoping that everything will be as we have said it. It will be reported clearly that what we want is a system that works and a system that will bring us the democracy that we are claiming for. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you, my colleagues.
All right, thank you so much. For the closing remark,
Search for to finally couple just before my colleague just concludes it. I'm sure when my convener was reading out the various demands, synopsis of our demands, okay, I'm sure you heard him talk about that Nigerians are waiting. Nigerians are truly waiting for the National Assembly. We need to put that on record. And Nigerians will not hesitate. We are grassroots people. We are not sponsored. Coming here, we pay with our money. Okay? We need to re-emphasize that. Nigerians are waiting. When I was doing my opening remark, I told you we had our survey. This is what Nigerians want, the most important piece of legislation. And Nigerians are waiting. And we will not hesitate, because we represent Nigerians, to actually activate Nigerians, okay, for a more radical civic engagement with National Assembly. Should, for any reason, they decide to go the other way, they need to go the Nigerian people's way. We just need to put that on record. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think we all got that. We are ready to go a more civil way for that. For the closing remarks, please, we will just hand over the closing remarks to our Assistant Secretary, Dr. Blessing.
Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press, my colleagues. Electoral reform is a important message. I urge you, gentlemen of the press, custodians of information in this country, to ensure that this gets to every Nigerian. It is a call to active citizenship, and it is my desire and hope that our request will be met, so that we don't have to activate the next phase, because this is what the Nigerian people aims for, and this is what they desire. So I thank you very much for coming, and to my colleagues, thank you very much, and we say God bless you all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please, let's have pictures.
No,
I thought you
actually,
were recording it on your, it was on YouTube.
No, we
they
just
will
said
have
yes.
to take a picture of us standing and also sitting, right? Is that how it's done?
I think standing is better.
Wait, is there?
It's a conference in the time.
Okay.
We can always do that.
Let's take first.
Let's take first.
Yeah, you can-
Yeah, he can let you know so that he
Oh,
will
what
start.
No, you can do that meeting.
Okay.
When we are some,
Then you say, "Smile for me." I like the way you smile.
Can't we take the picture now?
Yes, let's face the camera, please.
This. Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to take the
Okay.
stuff.